Grand Rising Well Builders, and welcome back to another episode of Real Estate Unrigged. Today, I need to speak directly to my fellow real estate professionals, the agents, the brokers, the team leaders who are grinding 80 hours a week, trying to be full time realtors, full time marketeers, full time therapists for your clients. Let's address the elephant in the room. You keep hearing about artificial intelligence, AI. You hear about ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini, and half the industry is terrified. They think the robots are coming for our compensations. So let's unrig that mindset right now. AI is not going to replace the real estate agent, but an agent using AI, they're going to replace you by next Tuesday if you don't adapt. So here's my revelation. I sat down with an amazing AI tech. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by tech, if you think you're too late, you are too old to learn this game, my guest today is about to completely shatter your excuses. Today, we're sitting down with the incredible Kathy Burns. Kathy is a top producing agent out of North Carolina, the host of Real Estate Riches podcast, and a self proclaimed tech nerd. But here's what makes Kathy's story so powerful. She started her real estate career at 56 years old in a brand new state. She survived the market shifts, and instead of doing things the traditional exhausting way, she built a highly systemized empire using tech. She literally wrote the book on using ChatGPT for realtors. So here's a glimpse of what you'll get out of this sit down talk today in this Insider Series interview with Kathy. This isn't just going to give us theory. She's handing us the actual playbook. We're moving way past asking AI to write a boring property description. Kathy is going to show us how she uses advanced tools like Grok and Claude to act as her personal branding expert to win highly competitive listing appointments. She's going to explain the massive shift from SEO to AEO, answer engine optimization, and why how you write your digital bio today dictates if a buyer finds you tomorrow. We're diving into vibe coding so you can automate your content creation at scale without sounding like a robot. And she's giving us the exact actionable steps to integrate an AI driven CRM workflow that will cut your work time by 10 hours. So, we're not going to automate your voice. You can get your work lifestyle back and start working on your business instead of working in your business. So if you're ready, grab a pen, grab a notebook, turn the volume up, because well builders, we're going to unrig your daily grind. Let's welcome AI master herself, Kathy Burns, to the studio. Grand Rising, and I am so excited to have you with me today. This is a virtual studio, so say welcome to all of my generation of wealth builders. Before we dive into the topic of the day, why don't you go and tell our wealth builders a little bit about yourself? How did you get into the go from traditional real estate into being the go-to expert for AI and branding in real estate?
Okay, great. Kathy Burns, and I'm in North Carolina. I got into real estate back in 2006. I started at just before I turned 56, and I was dead broke, only knew one person in the state, and I had to figure it out, which is a big deal, because people weren't really collaborative in the industry at that point. And I had to figure out the area, the industry, all kinds of stuff. But fortunately, I believe when you are starting over, which many people are in real estate, you've got a talent from whatever you did before to bring forward. And so I decided to specialize in waterfront properties. I'm from Michigan, and I just figured out my niche of who my target market was. I figured out my price point because for me, my background is financial planning. I knew that the most important thing was my net, not my gross. So no matter what company I was with, I had to pay attention to what my net was going to be able to build a business. And that's what this is, a business.
Okay. Well, Kathy, once again, welcome to Real Estate Unrigged with TC Well Builder. We're going to get right into what the hot topic is of today. And so we all know that consistency in social media and branding yourself is what's the most exhausting part of trying to be an agent, full-time realtor, and then also being an influencer, right? Getting your name out there. So how can agents use AI to create a brand for themselves? How can they go out there and say, okay, I'm going to use this tool to get my name out there as a real estate professional?
Yeah. Well, AI is overwhelming to, I'd say, 99.9% of everybody. And I just happen to be addicted to it and love it because I saw it as a way to leverage different things. But it feels like I've spent the past 3 years just learning the next new thing that's coming on and trying to figure out how I was going to actually incorporate that into my business. And I think that's part of the overwhelm is everybody saying, well, I'll just do it for my property descriptions. I'll do it for my emails and all that's good. But there's some cautions I want to give people about AI in this window in time. This is May 6th, 2026, and it's evolving on a minute by minute basis. But some of the things to be careful of. Most people are on ChatGPT. There's a term called hallucinations. And what that means is it lies. And it doesn't mean to lie, but it's designed to please you. So it's going to do whatever you want to make you feel good about what you're asking it. And so you can create a persona that it knows who you are. And one of the best ways to do that is to have it ask you 25 questions about who you are, your goals. And I do the whole gamut. Like I'm a Christian gal. I wanted to know that piece about me. I wanted to know integrity is a core value for me. I wanted to know that I'm a classic car lover. I wanted to know my vision for my business. I wanted to know how I care about my health. I wanted to understand who I am. And when you have it ask you those 25 questions, you read it back in. And then you say, when you've read it back in, you say, do you have any more questions for me? And now it'll ask a few more and you'll answer those. So now you say, okay, I want you to create a PDF for me on who I am that I can save. And now you can take that PDF and put it on any other of the platforms and it's going to know you. And that's an important piece. So as the different platforms change, you want that to know. And part of the branding process that you have as a real estate agent is so many people are so used to branding the company that they're with. That does you no good. You want to brand you. And I'm a classic car lover. So I have a classic car that I drive as a daily and I'm known for it. And that sets me apart. And you can say, well, how does that help you buying and selling houses? Whatever the thing is that you're branding yourself about, people that like that thing are going to be drawn to you. And that's part of how, when you do your posts and your social media, you want to portray yourself. If you're a mom with high school kids and you're at all the sports games, man, you got to be talking about who you are and you got to be making those connections in there. All of the branding is wrapped around who you are, with your company being the secondary component. It's the platform that you run your business on. It is not who you are. And unfortunately, in this crazy world of franchises out here, so many are tied to the franchise and not to their own business. And that's something I really want to touch on is you got to treat this as your business. So many people are treating it like they're just a salesperson and they say, I just want to buy and sell homes. Well, what's your end game? At almost 76, starting over at almost 56, I'm going to tell you, I did not have an end game. And you got to see what your end game is going to be. Run this like a business where you can figure out how you can serve your clients integratively, where you can also have a platform where you can have an end game. And it's not just about buying and selling for clients. You're a piece of the pie, and you got to see yourself that way.
Right. I totally agree. So that's a good segue into my next question. The next fear question, right? There's a rumor going on out there that AI is going to replace the agent. What do you say to agents who need to stay ahead of that fear tactic? How do they brand themselves in a way that they will not be replaceable?
Well, the only way that I see them being replaced, at least in this window of time, is if they're not utilizing it so that they're being found by AI. Because, and you say, well, how do you get found by AI? Well, let me tell you a little background. Google is the #1 search engine, right? But Gemini is its AI platform, which you can get for free. So the #1 search AI platform that the AI platform search is Google. The #2 is LinkedIn articles. And an article is very different from a post. And I just learned this recently. So, and I put it into practice right away. So when you do a LinkedIn article, there's over 1 billion people on there every single day. So if you're in a business where you're paying attention to your net, you want a decent price point house. So the business builders are on LinkedIn. That's just a fact. And if you're not on there and you don't have a current profile and you don't have the background picture and you aren't writing articles, which automatically makes you have to do a post, you are not current. And AI is only going to find you through Gemini. So how are you being found through Gemini? Again, that's your Google business page, your Google reviews, all that is important, but blogs are really important. And most of us have a website where you can have a blog component to it. And there's a term called AEO. Now, everybody's heard of SEO, but AEO is about answering questions. So when you're doing a blog, and how I learned the piece about the blog was I use Claude. That's one of my primary AI tools in this window in time. And I keep saying that because everything changes. I still use ChatGPT. I use Gemini on a regular basis. But for writing, I use Claude. So I was creating my article in Claude. And what's great about Claude is it splits the screen on you and you can have your discussion on the left-hand side and then it shows you what it's creating on the right-hand side. I love that. So it was creating my article and I said, I really should just copy this and put this on my blog and then I'll get twice the leverage from it. And it goes, no, don't do that. Claude says this to me. This is what I love, the banter back and forth. I said, why? And it said, because Google will see it on LinkedIn and it'll see an exact duplicate on your blog and it'll negate both of them and won't search either one. I go, oh my gosh, back and forth. It says you've got to rewrite that, which I'll do for you, and we'll just rewrite it. And I said, great. And so it did. And this is how cool it is, how it proved to me that this works. When it did I started the articles back in Thanksgiving era that I was doing on LinkedIn, right? And then it was about 2 weeks ago that I started doing the blogs on my website. I'd had them done before. I was extracting information from my YouTube video, like a podcast like this, and I would have my VA just create a blog from the podcast transcript. which you can do through Notebook LM. Boy, I could go off on so many circles, so be careful of me. So um, so I had a bunch of blogs on there, but my website got no traffic. And I don't do homes on my website because I'm out of production. So I have a whole different agenda. So I said, nobody's ever coming to my website. It's really depressing. And I get this little notice, nope, nobody's still coming. And so when I started with those revamped articles from LinkedIn and I started putting them over there based on how Claude rewrote them, use the same picture. I also have a tag down at the bottom about the author. And within the article, as well as the blog, it does the AIO. And what that means, I know I started to tell you, answering questions. So when people type in today, they're just asking a bunch of questions. Your LinkedIn article has to answer questions and your blog has to answer questions. And it's what's the questions should they be asking? That's what you're going to ask your AI. What are people searching for that I can answer the questions for? Do you see the circle, how it all goes?
Right.
So when I did the blog, it was not 4 days after I had done 3 blogs that I had redone from my articles that I get this email from Google. And it said, we discovered your website. And I'm like, what does that mean? And it had a bunch of paragraphs in there that I couldn't understand. And I was trying to copy the email to Gemini. And if everybody looks on their computer, up in the right-hand corner, you're going to see a little star logo and it's going to say Gemini. If you click on that, it opens about a 2-inch wide panel on the right-hand side. Well, I just thought I could talk in there. I didn't know it was looking at my whole screen. And I'm trying to copy it in. And I said, I'm trying to copy this in over here so you could help me with this email. And it goes, are you talking about that email from Google? I go, are you telling me you can see that?
Yes.
It says, yes, I can. I go, oh my gosh. Yeah. What does it mean? I don't know if I'm in trouble or if it's good. And it says, that's what you've been waiting for, girl. With all the work you've been doing, you are now discovered by Google. And I'm like, oh, that was the blog with the AEO that I'd redone from the article.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So question, you had both of the blogs, both of the articles on your website, but you had the same topic, but different verbiage on LinkedIn. And that was different from what was on, I guess your website or Facebook.
It was
what was
website.
it?
Now the website had old blogs that did nothing with AEO and so they got no vision. Then I took the Claude revamped the articles that I had done for LinkedIn to
Okay.
become a blog. I used the same picture. I put that on there, and within 4, I got that email.
Roger that. That's incredible.
It,
Talk about getting into the algorithm.
yes, yes. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I started getting the report that was telling me people were coming to my site. I'm like, oh, now my numbers started going up. And I wasn't paying for this. This was a free service. It was trying to solicit me to pay so they could raise my rankings. And they were telling me, you're going up, girl. And so I've got to catch up with that because that's the other part of branding and all this. It's overwhelming. You can take over your whole life. And it does me. That's why I really stepped out of production because I'm possessed, but I also teach agents things like this. And so, but also we're both with EXP and I have built a residual income, which is my end game. So that it's allowed me to have my end game to focus on that and teach other agents like I'm doing on here, which I have a passion for.
That's absolutely phenomenal, phenomenal. So tell me more about LinkedIn. You
Okay.
mentioned LinkedIn. Tell me more about LinkedIn.
Okay, so you got to be on LinkedIn. I'm going to tell every single agent be on LinkedIn because your business builders are there. The people that are building a business, whatever it is there. And so you've got to have a good picture on there. You've got to have your banner that relates to what it is that you do without being overwhelming. And this is where AI comes into play. You can say, I don't know what size picture I need to do. Um, if you're with EXP, you get Canva Pro and it'll tell you all the sizes of your stuff and you can figure that out. But what you do with your AI, and this would be a perfect example of when to use Gemini. So you open up Gemini and say, I want to start rebranding so that I'm even across all my platforms. I want the same kind of banner that I use for Facebook and that I use for Instagram, that I use for all the stuff. I want to have a cohesiveness, right? And Canva is a good place to go because it's got the sizes of all the different platforms and can change it around and make that thing. So, but you want a bio that's going to translate to all the different platforms. So I use AI and I say, here's all my social media platforms. Based on all those questions that it knows about me, right? Remember that I talked about in the beginning? Create a bio for each platform that I can put on there that is the most advantageous for that platform. And it'll break it down. It'll give you Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, and LinkedIn, all the things, right? And so it'll give it to you, just copy and paste it in there. The other thing about LinkedIn is that you want to make connections. If you are under 500 connections, I'm not interested in adding you to my thing. The reason being, if I do an article, it's going to go to you, but you may not pop on for maybe once a year. I don't want my stuff that I'm working on to go to you. I want it to somebody who's got 500 plus connections, who's on there and regularly posting. And you can see that when you're going through the feed. LinkedIn gives you a bunch of people that, do you want to connect with this person and this person? It starts to recognize who you want. I can instantly see if you don't have a banner on there, XXXX, I'm not interested in you. But you can also search by, let's say, I don't know, custom builders or something like that, who you want to target. You know, for me, I'm targeting realtors. I'm looking for as many realtors that I can find, and I do it globally. So I'm always trying to connect with them to see how I can empower them. And I come from giving, not taking. It's a big deal. Always be coming from giving. And so you start building up your audience. And one way to do this is a thing called endorsements. No, not endorsements. Absolutely don't do endorsements. Do the recommendations. It's got two choices. Endorsements is just saying, oh, Kathy's really good at being a realtor. Who cares? Yeah. But if you give a recommendation, that is like a 5-star review. And the best way to do that is to give it to other people. And when you start giving it to other people, it goes to their little notification and says, hey, Kathy just sent you a recommendation, Tamara. Do you want to take a look at it? Because you have to approve it before you allow it on your LinkedIn site, which is great. So you don't get bad ones, right? So now you say, wow, that was awesome. Yeah, I love that. And then LinkedIn says, do you want to do the same for Kathy? Yes, come on back. And so that's how I think I have 70 some recommendations because I'm on a mission. Don't do them all at once. Spread it out, maybe one a month, one every couple of weeks, because the truth is a lot of people won't send them back because you'll find out they're actually not even on LinkedIn that much. They don't even see it. And a year's gone by. I will send some of them a text. Hey, buddy, I just sent you a recommendation on LinkedIn. Could you check it out, approve it, and maybe give me one back? So I do pursue that. And I try and do it with like my clients who are in all these different situations. If they're on LinkedIn, because my target market has always been a little higher price point, because that just makes sense to go after a higher price point in my mind.
Of course. Yes, of course. Wow. So you have given me a lot to even think about. I have to go back. I thought I was on my way with branding, you know what I mean? But you just gave me some great ideas. So let's do this. If you had to build a starter pack for an agent with all the good tools, what would that starter pack look like for AI stacking?
I think it depends on the age as well. If I've got a new agent and they're in their 20s, I would be really focused on depending on who their target market is. Where I would ask AI, and honestly, I'd probably be hanging out in Gemini. because that's where I do a lot of interaction back and forth. I don't trust ChatGPT right now to tell me the truth, although I just did read something today that they've improved their what they call hallucinations by 50%. I don't want to take that risk. I not that Gemini also doesn't mislead you, but I would probably start with Gemini and I would say, here's who I am. Again, that those 25 questions are so important so the platform knows who you are. Say, I want to make money in this industry. I want you to kind of guide me, ask me questions on who should be my target market, which platform would be best for me. Now, YouTube is the number 2 search engine in the world. So to not be on YouTube is crazy. Video is your number 1 thing that you've got to be doing. I don't care what you look like. Look at me. Now I have Zoom cleaning up my lines and all my polka dots on here. But I can't do that on my cell. I turn out really awful on my cell, but I do it anyway because that's who I am. When you meet me in person, I'm a blend between the two. I'm not as bad as I am on that phone. But it is what it is. I remember doing an open house. I did a Facebook Live. Well, the phone's looking right at you, and it's on the wrong side of the camera because your camera's not as good on that side, so you're really looking haggardy. And when it's this close to you, it's like, oh my gosh! And that's exactly how I started my live. It just shocked me, and I'm like, hey, I'm doing an open house out here. I'm on, and I go, shoot, I don't even know what name street I'm on because. Life's busy. I don't know about you. And I didn't know the name of it. I said, well, I'm in Huntersville. It's off that street. And I said, look it up in the MLS, will you people? Because I'm live. And I said, there's the number. And I said, if you're looking for this price point, this is a great house. And I'm out front, right? Well, a lot of people were watching because I was being ridiculous. And because Facebook Live lets your following know, hey, Kathy's live. Go see what she's up to. And so then one of the agents who's not in my firm says, Kathy, here's the street. And I go, oh my gosh, thanks so much. Appreciate that. And so then I had a great turnout at my open house. But those are the kinds of things because you can download your lives and that can go on YouTube. I've got so many tips for you with doing YouTube of how to build your business that will cost you nothing. That's so important. YouTube. I'm sorry. You can tell I have ADD and I love everything about marketing. So you got to hold me accountable here.
Wealth of information. You have said that it's very important that you teach AI who you are, right? That help them create content that will brand you across all different platforms. And sounds like it has to be platform specific. So they brand
Yes.
you for the Pacific platform.
Yep.
That's what I picked up. I also picked up that Gemini is the best starter AI app. Could you talk a little bit about how Gemini works? Because in my experiences, it works best if you use Gemini, having discussions with Gemini, but keeping those discussions separate per topic. Like if you need to talk about a different topic pertaining to real estate, perhaps start a new chat so that all of that
Yes.
information stays in order. So can you talk about how that works and why that works that way?
Well, for me, ever since I discovered that it could see my whatever was on my screen, I just kind of run it right there. But if you'll notice when it opens up, there's 3 little dots right there. And if you click on that, those are your previous conversations. So they kind of go in little folders like you're talking about. So let's say today I was going to be talking about I don't know, YouTube, but I really wanted to touch base on what I was talking about with LinkedIn the other day to refresh my memory or pick up where I left off. I hit those 3 dots, I go find out what that was, and you can rename your folders over there so that you can recognize because it names them. Same thing with ChatGPT. You can rename them so you know what you're going back to. But you definitely want different folders. Now, I can't remember, I think you can also do connections. Really important to do connections with Gemini for sure. You can do connections with ChatGPT as well. The thing I love about Gemini is because I use Google everything, right? So I've got it on my phone. I've got the Gemini app on my phone, and I open up the Gemini app. I take Pilates, and it changes every week when my the schedule is. So I see it on Sunday night. I see I'm Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday this week. And so I just open up the app. I talk in. I say, "Hey, go update my calendar and make my Pilates from 7 to 8 on Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday this week, and confirm that you put that in my calendar." Done. How about that?
Yes, awesome. And
Yes.
that's in the Gemini app.
Yes. Well, just make sure that it down in the left-hand corner. So when you're on your full page of Gemini, right? And
Right.
you it knows you because you've signed in, you've created a profile and stuff. I don't pay for Gemini. I don't think I do. And that's why I didn't understand all the stuff that that bar on the left or the right-hand side did. I just used the app and on my desktop, and I just saw it sitting up there, and I just thought I'd press it one day, and that's when all of my new world opened up. But anyway, down in that bottom left-hand corner, it's going to say somewhere in the settings, connections. You can connect your Gmail to it. You can connect your Google Drive. Remember, I'm ADD, so I create folders that are duplicates of all kinds of stuff, can't find anything. So I just say to Gemini, "Hey, I need you to pull all the folders that have something to do with social media on, let's say, a specific topic." I said, "I know I got it all over there." Pulls them all up so I can summarize it in seconds, where I would spend 30 minutes looking for the dang thing, right?
Let me ask you this. Can they go in and delete email for you?
No. Well, I asked it on the side if it could do that, and it said, "I can't do that for you." But that's where Claude can do things. But I'm not there yet. My daughter does all that, and I'm not there yet because I want to be very careful what I delete.
Okay, okay. So here's a curveball for you. What do you know about ClickUp?
Click up?
Yes, ClickUp.
I don't.
Now you have to do your homework.
Click
Mhm.
up. See?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh,
So that's what I'm trying to work on, learning that particular AI system. But it can be a bit challenging, but it can be a virtual office for for agents.
okay, here's one thing. Here's a caution I'm going to give you. The
Okay.
majority of startup AI platforms
Okay.
go debunked quickly, 6 months,
Okay.
year. So pay attention to what you're investing in. Um,
Okay.
see, because what that's probably offering is AI agents, where it does different tasks for you, right?
Yes.
And my daughter's working on developing a very similar thing, and that's a whole lot of coding going on. And she's got like 6 agents that she's working on to create. The concept is heaven sent. We want this because that's what takes it all off our platform. And that's where we're going. And that's agentic AI. That's what that term is. But I do know that so many of these startups are just going by the wayside. So be careful where you invest your money on that. Like
Okay.
when she started on it, it looked wonderful, and then it got horrible, and she's doing it on her own. But some of these companies that are marketing out there, they're getting front loaded with different investment firms that say that's agents are going to need that, which we do. And
Yes.
so just be cautious about it, and know
Okay.
that this is what Claude can do for a lot. If you do that $100 a month, which I don't want to spend for Claude, but you got to learn the different things where it'll do a lot of that for you. Sorry, I got the hiccups.
Okay. Okay. So in closing, I want to tell you, you're doing incredible work, pulling agents out of the dark ages, or like I say, getting them out of the old school mindset and into being, power forward agents, with technology as their friend and not as their enemy. So tell our world builders out there about the programs that you offer, anything that you want them to know about you and how they can contact you, how they can connect with you, and how they can follow you on social media.
Oh, great. Yeah. I'm on every platform, and if you just search Kathy Burns Realtor, you'll probably find me because I am on purpose to be visible. So in LinkedIn, just Kathy Burns Global Realtor is typically what I've got. Um, because I do things globally, and that's another thing real quick. I want agents to start seeing this is a global economy. Stop just thinking your little territory. Start seeing bigger. And tech is taking us global. Even if you're not with a tech company, you better get thinking about a tech company because we are a tech world and global is so important to have that piece. But oh shoot, I already forgot what the question was. What?
How can we connect with you?
Oh,
You said you're on all social media, and what is it that you do and what can you offer? How can agents sign up for any programs that you may be offering?
I usually do everything for free. I'd like to change that because what I'm looking to do is speaking engagements like this where I can teach on here just to be known more that way. So if people have platforms where they're looking for people to talk about AI and how agents are using it and how they can do their business better, that would be wonderful for me. Follow me on LinkedIn and see what's going on in the industry because there's a lot of nonsense that people are not paying attention to, a lot of spin out there, and those are my articles. And I want agents educated, and I'm very concerned about all the franchise owners of all these franchises out here, of the spin that's happening around their world. So for me, it's if you want to follow me on AI and learn about what's going on in the industry, LinkedIn is probably the best source for me.
Well, thank you so much, Miss Kathy. We will be going over there and following you on your social media
Thank
platforms, including LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn and I'm not on there as often as I should. Shame on me, but I will be there and I'll be looking for you there, and we'll
Great.
be interacting for sure. And you will be our resident AI technology expert, if you don't mind, right here
Absolutely.
on Real Estate Unrigged with me, TC Wealth Builder. It has been a pleasure, Miss Burns, and thank you so much once again for joining us.
Thank you.
Until next time.